You always hear me speak about this PMA, and my salon's a private membership association, and we're not open to the public. And a lot of times when I have conversations with people, they ask if they can do the same thing that I can do, and they can't because you have a public hair salon. Being that we're private, there's a membership process, and we function solely in the private domain. We are not open to the public. So certain agencies and certain things the government put in place to protect the public don't apply to us because our members join under their own free will. They voluntarily join our PMA. And so we don't have clients, we have members, and we don't have stylists or employees, we have members. So it's very important to understand the vernacular that you're using in your contracts and your operating agreement. All of that will be brought up in court if there's ever a situation with the Department of Labor or a situation with the IRS or a situation with the Board of Cosmetology. So you have to understand that words and how you use them, they hold weight in court. So how you construct your contract will have a way on what goes on in court. So if you're organizing your contracts between you and your employees, they're not independent contractors now, they're employees. So if you use the word employee or you treat them like an employee in that contract, then that could be pierced by the Department of Labor. You have to make sure that your contract is constructed with certain vernacular that completely makes them independent. When I started my private membership association, it was during the shutdown. It was during the time when government said that liquor stores can be open and salons had to be closed. And that was not okay with me. And so I had to find what was in the Constitution that protected me as an American and my freedom and my rights. And I came across this thing called the right to private contract and the right to association. And these are all deeply rooted in the Constitution. So when you think about independent contractors, the word itself has contract in there. And this is why I'm going to focus a little bit on contract today. And again, I'm not an accountant, I'm not a lawyer. I'm just a regular guy, barely graduated high school, did enough research to understand that there's a certain boundary that the government and the state can't cross when you are protected by contracts and the right to association. And so as long as you form this properly, your private membership association, you are free and clear to do whatever you want in your association as long as you don't cause substantial harm or evil to your members. So with that being said, protection of the right to contract. The U.S. Constitution also protects the right to contract between private citizens through the contracts clause found in Article 1, Section 10. This clause prohibits state from passing any law that impairs obligations of contracts. This protection ensures that private agreements, such as membership contracts within the PMA, are respected and upheld without undue interference from the state. So as it refers, right, a relevant court case, Allied Structural Steel & Co. versus Spanish 1978, have reinforced this principle by striking down state laws that retroactively impair contractual obligations. So if you have a contract and obligation, this has been happening throughout time. The state and the government will always try and overreach and try and go into your business and honestly try and dismantle it and break it up and try and get money from you through fines and through like licensing, which they don't need to do. So transparency is key here. You want to make sure that you're clear and transparent with your team, and you want to make sure that you know that they're not employees. You want to make sure that you know that they're independent, and you have to make sure you educate them properly. Because we're talking more about PMA today, this makes the 1099 independent situation a lot easier to handle. Like you don't have to worry about the labor law because they're not employees, they're members. And as long as you construct your articles of formation properly, you don't need to file this with any state agency. This is completely private, much like a trust. You guys always hear the word trust being thrown around, trust fund babies and trust protect all your assets. Guess what? You don't file a trust with anybody either. And trust hold up in court. If in your trust you leave your house to somebody, guess who gets the house? The person you left it for in the trust. And the trust isn't filed with anybody. A will is filed with somebody. There's a lot of litigation and red tape that goes on with a will. Not as much with a trust, private document. So a PMA is a private document. I don't need the state's okay of approval or stamp of approval on my PMA. So let's focus on New Jersey for a second here. In the New Jersey Constitution, Article 1, Paragraph 1, this provision of the New Jersey Constitution protects the rights to enjoy and defend life, liberty, and to acquire and possess and protect property, to pursue and obtain safety and happiness. These broad protections encompass the right to freely enter into contracts, such as membership agreements with the warehouse PMA without unwarranted government interference. So right there, Article 1, Paragraph 1, it states the power of contract. So if you have a contract with a person in your PMA, which is a member, they can't really interfere with that. So you guys, you're going to hear that you're not allowed to do that. You can't do this. Well, I'm doing it and it's being done. And I might get letters from the Attorney General like I got right here. Here's a letter from him. And I am responding back with this letter here, letting him know, hey, I really appreciate what you do for the public, but unfortunately, I don't help the public out. I don't work on the public. I don't service the public. I only service my private members. And as long as, like I said, you're not causing any substantial harm or evil, I don't need a state board license. Because I don't just do hair. We do prayer, we do meditation, we do self-development. They're enrolled in my coaching program. So my members get a lot more than just scalp health and hair health cuts. Like we do education. So when you become a member of our association, there's more than just hair. This isn't just like some crazy conspiracy thing. This is contract law. This is deeply rooted in the US Constitution and your state constitution. So if you're going to play ball and you want to do business, learn the language of contracts, learn the language of business, understand what your rights are, understand what they're not, understand what the law says, understand how to have a salon that functions the way you want it to. If you want to truly build a team and make them independent and pour into them so they can become mini little businesses inside of your business, I urge you to learn how to do that. Hey guys, thanks for watching this video. If you love this channel, make sure you click subscribe, hit that notification bell so you get alerted every time I upload a new video. If you want to watch the full video, click somewhere on this page, I think right over here, and drop a comment if you have any questions.